Alright, consonants part 3. And I have a cat purring very loudly on my lap, so if you hear that, that's that's what the odd rumbling sound is. So this is gonna, basically I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about the difference between oral and nasal consonants. So usually the velum is closed. Right here, this little flap is raised, which closes the velum. And so when the air starts coming up, it hits the velum, it can't go up into the nasal cavity, and so it ends up exiting through the mouth. Oral sounds, so those are oral sounds. The velum is raised, which means that it's closed. In nasal sounds, however, sounds like n, m, the velum is lowered, so the air actually escapes out of the nasal cavity. Alright, so we have 3 different places of articulation for nasal sounds in English: m, n, and and so that represents where the closure is. In m, it's the lips. In n, it's the tongue on the alveolar ridge. And for it is the back of the tongue up near the velum. So what happens when the sound actually can't go out of your nose because you have allergies and you're all stuffed up and mucousy like that? So what happens is the air comes up, you're trying to let it out through your nose, so the velum's open, but it hits that mucus, and so there we go. It can't exit through the nose, so it has to exit through the mouth. So what actually ends up happening is that you don't change the place of articulation. So if you're doing a velar sound, if you're saying you still make a velar sound, but you have to let the air out of the mouth, so when you release that sound, you get a G, uga, ga. If you're trying to say an N, you might end up with a D, because they have the same place of articulation. If you're trying to say an M, you might end up with a B, because your lips are closed, but the air can't come through your nose, so when you release the lips, you get a B. So if you say, Bob, I'd hungry, so you've all sort of talked like that. I can't imitate it well, not being sick, but you all sort of you sort of have that intuition that you remember probably from having a cold that you can't really say Bob. Might come out, Mom might just come out as sort of Bob. So that's why that happens. Affricates, okay, are one other type of special sound. So we have our stops, P, B, T, D, K, G, and the glottal stop, which is the sound from uh-oh. Uh-oh. You can feel the constriction in the back. We also have our fricatives, F, V, S, Z, Sh, J, and H. And what happens if you put them really close together? Some sounds that we have in English are made up of 2 sounds followed really close together. So if you have a T followed by a esh, so T, sh, t, sh, t, sh, what sound do you get? Similarly, D, D, J, D, J, D, J. Try to put those really close together. So T followed by esh, you end up getting a sound like cheese. The CH in cheese, cheese, that's actually a T-esh. And the D, j, if you put them close together, you get G's, that sort of G's sound. So those are affricates, a stop plus a fricative really close together. So this may seem like a lot of information covered in this lecture. It's a lot of sort of technical information, and it can be kind of confusing if you don't have someone sitting there with you helping you practice these sounds. But what really matters is that you start to think about how you're producing your consonants. So give that a little practice. Try reading the different sounds in the IPA chart, especially as you read through the Harley article and she's talking about them in more detail. And feel what your mouth is doing. Feel what your tongue is doing. Feel what your lips are doing. Feel your throat and see if it's vibrating. You can try holding onto your nose and see if that's vibrating. That will tell you whether the air is coming out through the nose or just through the mouth. The other important thing you need to know is that you have to read the IPA symbols for the English sounds. again, as you read the Harley article, this will probably help you with that. I don't expect you to know all of the sounds from all of the world's languages. I don't even know that, and I've been studying linguistics for a long time. But I will expect you to know how to read IPA symbols for English sounds, and later today I will explain to you how to actually type them. So that's what you need to focus on. So take a little time. Oh, yes. Also, you want to watch this video. This is the film Seeing Speech Articulation in Real Time. It's just like 2 minutes long, a little YouTube clip. And as you watch this, note the movements of the speaker's tongue. Look for the K sounds and the G sounds where the tongue should be in the back, and contrast them with the T and D sounds, and you'll notice that the tongue is probably farther forward. And so where the tongue is approaching or touching the roof of the mouth, that's the place of articulation for the sound. So this is kind of a visual, a moving visual that will help you understand a little bit more about places of articulation. Alright, so give that a little practice, and then when you have done that, come back and listen to the lectures on vowels.